Tragedy in Minneapolis. Federal immigration officer fatally shoots man. A nation watches on January 24, 2026. A fatal confrontation between federal immigration agents and a Minneapolis resident ignited outrage across the United States, spotlighting rising tensions over immigration enforcement and use of deadly force. The incident, during a high-profile federal operation, resulted in the death of 37-year-old Alex Jeffrey Preddy, an ICU nurse and U.S. citizen, and sparked protests, political backlash, and urgent calls for accountability. Reuters Plus One, the incident federal agents, part of a larger immigration crackdown ordered by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, were operating in South Minneapolis when they encountered Preddy on a busy Saturday morning. Initial official statements from DHS claimed agents fired in self-defense after Preddy allegedly approached them while armed and resisted attempts to disarm him. Authorities said Preddy possessed a firearm and that the defensive shots were necessary to protect officers. NBC7 San Diego, however, footage from bystanders and local residents quickly circulated online, offering a contrasting narrative. Several videos show Preddy attempting to help others, who appeared to be pepper-sprayed by agents, then being wrestled to the ground by multiple officers. In some clips, his hands appear to hold only a phone before the struggle escalates. Conflicting interpretations of the footage have fueled public anger and confusion, with supporters saying the videos suggest excessive force, while officials maintain the narrative of a dangerous confrontation. ABC. Who was Alex Preddy? Preddy was widely known by his family and colleagues as a compassionate and dedicated healthcare worker at a Veterans Affairs hospital in Minneapolis. He had no significant criminal record beyond minor traffic infractions, and was described by relatives as someone who cared deeply about his community. His unexpected death, in circumstances that remain intensely disputed, has transformed him from a local nurse into a national symbol in the debate over federal law enforcement tactics. The Times of India, a city already on edge. Minneapolis was already reeling from another controversial shooting earlier in January, when ICE agents killed a U.S. citizen named Renee Good during a separate immigration enforcement action. That first shooting, of a 37-year-old woman, occurred when an ICE officer fired into her vehicle as she allegedly attempted to drive away from agents blocking a road. Video of that moment also raised questions about the circumstances and whether the use of lethal force was justified. The Guardian. These back-to-back fatal encounters have amplified scrutiny of federal operations in Minneapolis. Critics argue that the scale of the immigration enforcement actions, including warrantless raids and aggressive tactics, has escalated civil unrest and undermined public trust. Supporters of the operations, including federal officials, contend that agents face increasing threats in the line of duty as protests and resistance grow. PBS chaos on the ground. After Preddy's shooting, hundreds of Minneapolis residents quickly gathered near the scene, protesting in near-freezing temperatures. Chants, signs, and impassioned speeches filled the streets as demonstrators demanded answers and justice. Some called for the complete withdrawal of federal enforcement operations, while others criticized what they see as a pattern of excessive force. PBS local law enforcement officials, including Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara, appealed for calm. O'Hara acknowledged the anger in the community, but emphasized that responsible and peaceful expression was essential. He also noted that city officials had limited access to information about the shooting because federal authorities had not fully shared evidence with local agencies. Federal versus local tensions. The Minneapolis tragedy has deepened tensions between city and federal authorities. Governor Tim Walz authorized the Minnesota National Guard to assist in maintaining order after the shooting. Meanwhile, federal officials have been criticized for restricting local investigators from examining key aspects of the incident, including body cam footage and other evidence. This dispute has added to broader debates over jurisdiction, transparency, and civil liberties. Reuters' political leaders across the country quickly weighed in. Some members of Congress, particularly Democrats, condemned the shooting and called for investigations into federal immigration enforcement practices. Some even tied upcoming budget negotiations to reforms within the Department of Homeland Security. In contrast, supporters of stricter immigration enforcement, including conservative lawmakers, argued that agents were placed in difficult situations and acted within their authority. AP News public reaction and national impact. The shooting occurred amid nationwide discussions about policing, civil rights, and public safety, issues already prominent in American political discourse. For many observers, the fate of Pretty has become part of a larger narrative about government power, accountability, and how law enforcement engages with civilians. Advocates for reform point to the Minneapolis shootings as emblematic of deeper systemic problems, while defenders of federal actions argue that enforcement must be robust and supported to uphold immigration laws. Vox social media and news outlets have been flooded with images, first-hand accounts, and video clips, some of them graphic, fueling intense debate online. Hashtags demanding justice for Pretty and broader reform have trended across platforms, amplifying the story beyond Minnesota. Commentators on both the left and the right have used the incident to highlight long-standing grievances and policy disagreements. Red. Looking ahead as investigations continue, questions remain unanswered. What exactly transpired in the moments leading up to the shooting? Was Pretty a threat, as federal officials claim, or was he trying to assist others when the situation turned violent? Will Minneapolis and federal authorities be able to work together to establish the full truth? And what legal or policy changes might arise in the wake of this tragedy? What is clear is that this moment has struck a chord across the country. For many Americans, the Minneapolis shooting is more than a local news story. It's a reflection of broader anxieties about governance, community safety, and how justice is administered in moments of crisis. Reuters disclaimer: this video is based on publicly available news reports and online sources. Some details may change as official investigations continue. The content is intended for informational and educational purposes only, and does not promote violence, hate, or discrimination. We do not claim any person's guilt or innocence. Viewer discretion is advised, as the subject matter may be disturbing.